Represents the family of Freddie, and clearly the Gray family is as upset about this as police and residents are. They want the violence to stop as well.
And we're going to go now to our reporter Christy Aletto on the ground, who's been out all afternoon, even herself had an incident in which she had some pepper spray in her eyes, but she's still reporting for us as she has been. Where are you now, Christy? Looks like there's a car on fire behind you.
That's right. We're still by Endowment Mall. We're in the neighborhood that's just a couple blocks from it. But this fire was actually a lot larger moments ago. It had completely engulfed this vehicle. Now you're just kind of seeing that the fire is almost kind of putting itself out because, you know, for most of it, I mean, the car is basically done. And apparently a lot of people that live here say that protesters, rioters now is what we're calling them, came and torched this car. Residents said that they had called the fire department to come and put it out, but nobody ever came, just because I guess from what is happening across the city, I guess resources must be stretched thin, or I'm not really quite sure why. But now the car is just burning itself out. And a lot of people, this is just one of the casualties of what's been happening throughout the entire day with the protests that turned into riots. I mean, this again happened the day that Freddie Gray was supposed to be buried, put into the ground. The family asked that there be no protests. A lot of the protesters that I spoke with that were from a lot of Baltimore City schools said that they were intending to march from Endowment Mall to the Avenue. Of course, that quickly escalated into something else, and this is one of the results of that.
Most definitely. Right across the street from, we're looking from Sky Chopper 13 now at the CVS, and back here live to the burning car there in your neighborhood. But right across the street from the CVS there is a library, and I received a text message from someone who was trapped inside. They locked everyone down inside the library, and there's a tweet out now from Roswell Encina saying that they're closing all branches, and he says, so sad, libraries are supposed to be safe haven, but we have to close all of them out of an abundance of caution.
We should say, Christy, because you said people who live there were wondering, we did see fire department respond to another incident where 2 vehicles were on fire. I think, obviously, they have to go where it's safe, but they are trying to get on top of any fires that do break out. Have you talked to people who live in that area who are upset about what's happening? Christy? I guess we've lost Christy.
Yes, but we can go to Marcus Washington. He's at New Shiloh. He covered the funeral today and spoke with Billy Murphy, the attorney representing Freddie's family. And Marcus, what is your perspective on all this? I mean, you were there. You saw the celebration of the life of this young man, and we've heard the family call for calm, but it's just not happening right now. Marcus.
That's right, Vic. You know, earlier today during the funeral, a lot of people were here. People said, yes, they were sad, but this was, they laughed even in the funeral. They said there were a lot of different emotions going on at the funeral. But really, the family has been calling for peace. And right now, by the Reverend Dr. Harold Cardle, Jr., you are the pastor here at New Shiloh Baptist Church, as well as we have Reverend Ron Owens here. Both of you all are here to explain to us what's going on tonight.
Seems as though a group of high school students through social media decided that they wanted to at least get some attention, and that has escalated into what we're witnessing here this evening on the shoulders of what was a very powerful and soothing and God-blessed homegoing service for Freddie Gray. Unfortunately, what we're witnessing now is terribly out of kilter for what our expectations were, and we're believing through clergy that will be coming together even as we speak later this evening through prayer and ongoing positive witnessing, that we can see that this will come to a close with the strength of our political sisters and brothers.
And Reverend Owens, I know you said you all want to put together, I want to make sure I say this right, a peace rally that will prepare the march to bring the city back to order.
There are 2 things tonight. We're calling the leadership and the ministry of the city to convene here at 7 o'clock that we might prepare a response to the violence and the struggle that's going on in the streets. I think it's going to take a concerted effort of both civil leaders and spiritual leaders to quarrel what we believe is beginning to get out of control. And so tonight, those who are participants in the program will be convening at New Shiloh as we prepare our response. The city now is at its finest hour if it rises to the hour and begins to speak. And so tonight we'll be gathering to get our strategy together to march with the police to send some kind of peace message to a city in struggle.
And you're calling all clergy throughout the city or around Baltimore to come out tonight?
Essentially what we're doing is contacting those clergy persons who were a part of today's service. It's not a closed time or closed session, but essentially that's who we're reaching out to in this immediate moment here at New Shiloh this evening at 7 o'clock.
What are you all hoping will come through this, come by you all coming together? Because a lot of people are angry. I mean, we have to be honest, people are angry and they're not really hearing the peace message. I've heard some people say that to me personally. What can we do to change that?
I think that there are several things, but the major thing is that, again, we come as African-American men for the most part, that we stand together and send a message to our younger African-American brothers that there is a better way, that there is a higher calling, and that to affect your own community with this kind of devastation does not really make sense at all. Frustration is one thing, but how do you channel that frustration? And so as mentors, as pastors, as preachers of the gospel, we need, because Reverend Owens, myself, others, somehow or another we were able to make it and have been able to make it and make a difference. And so we want to try to pour back into their lives as well as someone once poured into ours.
All right, 7 o'clock tonight, the clergy meet here at New Shiloh Baptist Church to call for peace throughout our city.
Marcus, can you hear us, Marcus? Marcus.
Yes, I'm here.
Isn't
yes,
there
Denise.
some concern? I mean, I appreciate the sentiment of these ministers gathering and trying to march peacefully to try and calm the crowd down. But that could be a very dangerous situation. I mean, are they expecting police protection?
And Denise was asking, this could be a very dangerous situation for you all. How are you all preparing to stay protected? I know you are going to try to do this with police, but how are you all going to stay protected?
I think it's a couple of things. One is the city is in a turmoil moment because there's an absence of leadership. They're looking for us to be there. I don't think the intent of young people is to hurt those who are amongst them. They're looking for leadership, and so we don't feel threatened in any way. Certainly I can speak for Dr. Carter. He made his way to his church. The rest of the leaderships don't feel threatened and intimidated. These are the people by which we pastor and lead in this city.
Is this the time to stand in faith and together, and you have to stand strong?
Oh, no doubt. And I mean, the sense of a threat, this is our community. It never really occurred to me. I had actually left the church after the funeral, but seeing what was going on, I said I need to return. And so here I am. These are our sisters, these are our brothers, etc. And this church is here. It's still in the city to make a difference.
And what about people who aren't ministers? Can they come out? Because there may be men who want to come out and help.
Our plan this evening is to create some call to action for the involved community. So that's in addition to calling ourselves together, praying together, and believing God together, and getting this message out, is to create a strategy for the wider community.
Reverend Owens, Reverend Carter, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And there you have it. You know, definitely a call for peace throughout the city. A lot of people coming together, wanting to put an end to a lot of what's going on right now. Denise and Vic.
Marcus, thank you very much, and thanks to Dr. Carter and the associate pastor there from Shiloh. We're going to go back down to City Hall with Derek Valcourt, who has been there. It looks as if they have been fortifying City Hall, preparing for the possibility. Now live. Derek, what's the situation?
Yeah, you can see you can see police officers here in the background. They do have police in riot gear around City Police Headquarters and also all around City Hall. We are still trying to reach out to hear some sort of statement from the mayor, who has now activated the city's Emergency Operations Center. But we are now getting a statement from Governor Larry Hogan, who says he has been in constant contact with Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake office to provide the city with whatever resources they need. State police have been dispatched to play a supporting role on the ground here. And he also says today's looting and acts of violence in Baltimore will not be tolerated. In response, I have put the Maryland National Guard on alert so they can be in position to deploy rapidly as needed. I strongly condemn the actions of the offenders who are engaged in direct attacks against innocent civilians, businesses, and law enforcement officers. There is a significant difference between protesting and violence, and those committing these acts will be prosecuted to the fullest extent extent of the law. He says his thoughts and prayers go out to the men and women in uniform who are actively working to stem this violence and the several people who have been injured in the line of duty. He calls these malicious attacks against law enforcement, and he says they betray the cause of peaceful citizens who are seeking answers and justice following the death of Freddie Gray. So, a nutshell, Governor Hogan says the Maryland National Guard is now on alert and could be activated if needed if the situation gets worse and the governor decides those sorts of resources should be allocated. But I have to tell you, city police have a lot of help already. State police, Prince George's County Police, police officers from Baltimore County, Montgomery County, Howard County, all helping out right now as city police try to show a volume, a large number presence in those areas where they are dealing with rioters right now. It has been, we have been seeing police coming and going, vans full of police officers leaving City Hall, leaving this area of downtown, heading out toward some of the western areas of Baltimore where they are dealing with those rioters. So police, we're starting to see a lot of national media show up here in Maryland as, of course, the events unfolding here in Baltimore really are grabbing the nation's attention right now as everyone learns about what has happened, learns about the rioting and the protests in the wake of Freddie Gray's death and funeral today.
Well, Derek, you know, a lot of people, I've gotten several phone calls myself, and people are asking the question, where is the mayor? I'm looking at the mayor's Twitter account right now. Her last tweet was 3 hours ago. I know that she's probably very involved with trying to coordinate services and police and that type of thing. But I think at this point, I mean, a lot of people are asking, you know, where is she? When we're going to see her? When we're going to hear from her? I guess you just read a statement from her.
It was Hogan, I believe.
Did you have a statement as well from the mayor?
Governor Larry Hogan.
Just from the governor.
We do not have a. Yeah, we do not have a statement from the mayor just yet. That was a statement from the governor. We know that the mayor has activated the Emergency Operations Center, but we have not, she has not addressed the media yet. She has, I'm sure she's monitoring, and I'm sure she's got a lot of agencies that she's got to work with right now to try to help manage this situation, but we have not heard from her yet in terms of speaking to the public, speaking to the press, and trying to urge the calm in what has been a very upsetting day for the city.
Yes, because the last tweet from the mayor says, despite any rumors, after-school programs are open and ready to serve our children, and that was 3 hours ago, and I'm sure that did not happen. I mean, I'm sure that they canceled all those after-school activities for students, particularly those in the area of Mondawmin Mall and on the west side of the city.
Yeah, the mayor has said in the past that when important activities, things like this that are happening in the city that require her crucial attention, she has said, you know, her first inclination is not to get on Twitter and update people. But unfortunately, in a situation like this, a lot of people do want to hear from the city leader about what's happening.
Yeah, you're at City Hall, and I would assume she is there as well. You would expect a spokesperson or somebody to come down and release a statement. And you've seen nothing like that?
Yeah, nothing like that has happened yet. We have not seen any representative from the mayor's staff out here. We know a lot of the city employees left early. There was a big evacuation from downtown. Many of the city employees and also some of the businesses released their employees early in anticipation that there could be problems. Police put out warnings a little earlier that to expect that there might be some issues, and a lot of the employees started leaving town as early as 2 o'clock. But we have not seen the mayor, and that is the first statement we've gotten from Governor Hogan as far as today's events are concerned.
Derek, have you seen any activity around you? Sirens, anything like that?
Wow, all day long we have been seeing a number of sirens, police cars racing by us, racing from police headquarters. We've seen them coming down one street, heading north. It has been a constant flow of activity. To be honest with you, I'm surprised we haven't seen any sirens while I've been talking, because it has been so busy in terms of a police presence down in this area. But we are in an area where they are dispatching all of the officers. We're in an area where all of the help is being sent out as they determine they need to send it to one street here or another street here. We have seen riot teams, the police SWAT teams, gearing up in this area and then taking off in vans. So this is where the hub of the police activity is being dispatched from. And we have not seen any police sirens in the last few minutes. Of course, we are starting to see a lot of media show up here at police headquarters, but you can hear it now. Leaving from police headquarters, more vans, and as I'm looking at some of these vans, I can see that there are, in fact, officers in the back of some of these. That one looks like it might not have officers. One is full. There's another SWAT team vehicle, county police. Leaving, I'm not sure which agency, I couldn't read the sign on that van, but as you can see, this is what we have been seeing all day long, a number of vehicles heading north as they leave police headquarters, presumably heading to the area where all of the action is, where officers need backup. Back to you.
Tweets from the Baltimore Police Department saying that violent individuals are continuing to throw bricks, bottles, and other dangerous items at police cars with officers inside. We saw that our own Christy Ealey was overcome by pepper spray a little while ago. Our sister station, radio station, 99.1, had a reporter injured as well. He is in our newsroom right now with Mary Bubala. Mary?
That's right. Steve Dorsey is with me right now. He's a reporter with WNEW. We share a newsroom together. Steve, we're sitting because you had an injury. Tell me what happened.
I do. I injured my left knee. I was standing right at Division and North Avenue, not too far from where that CVS was being just looted and broken into, and I was just about to do a live shot on the phone, and out of nowhere, a protester came up in front of me, shouted something at me, hit me in the face. I fell down, my phone dropped out of my hand, and at that point he was going to kick me while I was laying down on the asphalt, and a few other protesters intervened and they pushed that guy back, and I was able to escape with the help, limping with some other protesters who walked me back to my car about a quarter of a mile away. I was able to call CBS, so I also report for New York on a special device I have to report, even though I lost my phone. And fortunately, another reporter from Gawker drove my car up to WJZ, which is really the closest point I had of contact with any news organization here in Baltimore.
And we know we have 7 officers who are injured. One was unresponsive. We had video of one of the officers down on the street earlier today. You have not gotten medical attention. You say you're going to do that, but you're trying to get, report the story, and also now reporters are becoming part of it. Certainly police are as well tonight. It's this delicate balance of getting the story out and being there. We saw with Christy, she had tear gas in her eyes.
Right.
When you were calling them protesters, we've heard a lot from our viewers telling us we shouldn't call them protesters, and I understand completely, because they're rioters, they're unlawful citizens, as what the police said. But were you able to connect with some of them and see what they were saying? Were there any chance? Was there any other purpose behind their motives tonight?
To be clear, when I was at North Avenue and Division, close to that metro stop, it was nothing but chaos. There was no organized demonstration going on. I saw, of course, what you've been seeing in the aerials today, that there's 2 burning police vehicles, both engulfed in flames. I actually saw I saw a fire truck pull up to the scene, stay about 2 minutes, only 2 firefighters on board, and just left. There was really nothing they could do in an uncontrolled, chaotic scene like that. Also, the back of the police van was completely wide open. A witness told me he actually saw someone steal a shotgun out of the van and leave with it. So there's obviously a lot of concern about the type of resources that police have at those areas.
Absolutely, and also just the amount of chaos that was at the scene at that moment, and the vandalism and destruction, as we're watching some pictures from earlier today. Steve, thank you so much for coming in to talking to us. I hope you're okay. I hope that you get this looked at, and I assume, knowing you're going to be back out there reporting on the story as we continue to sort of wrap our hands and our heads around what's happening in our city tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's send it back to Denise and Vic.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Steve. And we've just been told.
Are you thinking? Thank you.
This is our reporter Tracy Long, but we've just Told that the Orioles are going to postpone their game tonight with the Red Sox. So if you have tickets, they will notify you later as to when it will be rescheduled. Right.
Tracy Young is downtown as well. She is using a little unconventional method of communicating with us. I've been in that situation, having to use my iPhone headphones to communicate, and it sometimes helps. By the way, Tracy, if you kept your hand over that little microphone there, that way we'll be able to hear you a little more distinctly. What is the situation right there where you are?
Well, right now I see Baltimore Police Commissioner Anthony Batts. He's going back and forth. Officers, they've been driving through. We see them in buses. We see them in cars. We see them in vans. They're loading up right in front of Baltimore Police headquarters, and he's going to each one of them, and he's telling them to be safe when they head out there. It's unclear exactly where they're going. He has told us that they are spreading throughout the city, and he's calling on more than 1,000 officers. He's asking for aid from other departments all over the state of Maryland to come here today and help out his department.
How many officers would you say are in that area right now? Okay, we apparently have lost Tracy. We will get back with her very shortly.
I would say at least a couple. I would say there are at least a couple hundred right now.
And have you seen any rioters, any violent activity around you? Tracy, have you seen any violent activity around you?
There's no violent activity here right now. It's surrounded by officers, and I don't see any of them even trying to get into this area. It's completely blocked off. You need to be escorted just to come through this area. So they're not here in front of the headquarters, and they're not over by City Hall, which is just over my shoulder. But I do start to see the officers head out. They're heading north, they're heading east, and they're just heading to other areas where I assume that's where the rioters are, but they are not here at police headquarters.
Thank you, Tracy.
Tracy.
Okay. Who now has a statement from President Obama. Is that correct, Eric?
Yes, we are now hearing from the White House as well. Keep in mind, all of this is happening today against the backdrop that down in D.C., the new Attorney General for the nation was just sworn in, Loretta Lynch, now heading the Department of Justice, which of course is conducting its own internal investigation into the Freddie Gray death. And they will be looking at whether the officers violated Freddie Gray's civil rights. Today, as the new Attorney General spoke at the White House, she thanked the president and then updated him on several issues, including the death of Freddie Gray and their investigation. She assured the president that she would continue to monitor events in Baltimore and that the Department of Justice stands ready to provide any assistance that might be helpful here in Baltimore. Earlier today, the president also spoke with Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake about the ongoing situation. The mayor updated the president on efforts to address the demonstrations and to maintain peace throughout the city. The president highlighted the administration's commitment to provide assistance as needed, and they will continue to receive updates on the situation from Attorney General Lynch and White House Senior Advisor Valerie Jarrett. The president also spoke with Governor Larry Hogan today. The governor saying that they have now put the Maryland National Guard on alert to help should the need arise. There are already a lot of police agencies helping out from several counties surrounding Baltimore, Baltimore County included. There are a lot of police officers on the streets. We are not seeing a lot of looting or rioting activity here around City Hall, where there is a big police presence, and also over at police headquarters, where there is a strong police presence. Back to you.
Derek, thank you very much. We're going to break away now and go to Captain Jeff Long, a video that you've been watching here for the past minute or so. The CVS that was looted a very short time ago appears now to be on fire. Jeff?
This is at the intersection of North and Pennsylvania. Those police officers lined up on Pennsylvania. The CVS now on fire, smoke coming from the front entrance. Also, we see smoke visible from the roof. Now, as you can expect, fire department not here. They obviously have been called. How they will respond, when they respond, and where they come in from remains to be seen. There's still a violent group of rioters down in the middle of this intersection, Pennsylvania and North Avenue. This is one of the groups that's left here, and the rest of the group went up North Avenue to the west. As they were heading that way, they broke into Check's Cash store. Several of them went inside, and now I can actually see that they've taken up residents at North and Fulton Street. That is where that group is now. So you still have people here standing off with this large group of police officers. Now we look down Pennsylvania Avenue to the south on our way up, and about, I think it's about 10 blocks, well, 5 blocks, you've got some police vehicles, and then another couple blocks beyond that, there were some police officers that looked to be Maryland State Troopers. They could have been something else, but they were definitely other than Baltimore City police officers, blocking any movement southbound on Pennsylvania. The reason I'm slowing down here, I'm seeing some smoke over on the west side that looks like it could be a brush fire that may or may not be related. We'll check that out in a minute. So this is Fulton and North that we're looking at right now, and it does appear as though they may be looting another business on the corner here, some sort of Easy Mart. There was a fire in this intersection earlier. Now the police presence is just down the block, about a half a block to the east, and they are standing in what looks like an alley. It's actually Retreat Street between a couple buildings, and they will, when it's the right time, they will make their move to the west towards Fulton. But this is the bulk of the group right now here at this Easy Mart on the corner of North and Fulton, while CVS burns only a block away.
As you came back from refueling and went over the city, headed to this location, does it appear as though the area of violence now and rioting is reasonably contained? Did you see pockets other places, or is it mostly in this area of North Avenue, Carey Street, Fulton Street, Pennsylvania Avenue?
Yeah, it's relatively contained to this area. In fact, I was commenting to our photographer on the way over here that we keep saying that this is not Baltimore, and that's the truth. As we flew over downtown, it's business as usual down there. They did shut down the stadium. They canceled the game, but other than that, it's pretty normal downtown. As you come up Pennsylvania Avenue and you get about, like I said, 10 blocks south of North Avenue, you start to see some police presence, but the violence that we're seeing contained to North Avenue in Pennsylvania, although I do see smoke still coming from a fire that was started up by Mondawmin Mall. That was a car fire, but as I look up there, the police presence that was securing Mondawmin Mall has come down to deal with this problem on North Avenue.
Again, this is very disheartening for all the people who live in that area. I mean, there are innocent people there who are being adversely affected here by the rioting that is taking place right now, and the looting that is taking place in stores that these folks use every single day. As we said earlier, this is an area that was on the rebound. It looked as if Pennsylvania Avenue, that whole corridor, was coming back to life with new stores, new vitality, and everyone is calling for calm right now, from the family of Freddie Gray to the police commissioner's office, as well as a number of people who are in a number of elected positions. We're going to go back now live to Marcus Washington. He's at Shiloh Baptist Church, where earlier today they had the funeral for Freddie Gray, and he's talking with someone else there. Marcus?
Yeah, Vic, this is the place where Freddie Gray's funeral was earlier today. There has been a call for all ministers to come here. People have started to show up here at the church, but also a lot of people have been coming up to us who are from this community. I have Anthony and Shalik come in for us. I know you all are from Baltimore. You all have seen what's going on in the community. What's going through your mind right now?
I just see a lot of young people just capitalizing off of something that's meant to be good, and using it for their personal advantage, in a negative way, and it frustrates me because I'm from this community, from this community, and to see them run through the stores, the stores that, our African-American, people have worked so hard to go down to City Hall and fight for those different permits and stuff like that, just to run in and loot them. It's just an absolutely total, it's just unbelievable. And
you said you live here, and once all this is over, we're still going to have to live here.
Yeah, we're still going to have to live here. Not only do I live here, I actually work for the city councilman, Nick Mosby. district who can't be with us right now. He's actually, you know, doing other tapings. But anyone who's listening and hear us right now, we are here at New Shiloh. Any men, make your way here right now. We're going out into the community and we're trying to get these young people to, you know, settle down because it's gotten out of hand.
And speaking of outreach, and I know, Anthony, you were talking to me earlier. I know you are quite popular. Cool Anthony is what a lot of people know you on social media. What are you calling for right now?
Peace. Just peace, man. Put an end to it all. People got to raise kids here. It's too much going on. Like you said, at the end of the day,